lot of people have a lot of different opinions as it relates to what things and items and activities and programs are most important to the community. But most people agree that as it relates to the health of the community, the growth of the community, and the quality of life of the community, next to education, economic development is the most important. And I don't think we will get much of an argument from individuals as it relates to why that's true. Because if people are gainfully employed, if there are good jobs in the community, and we've got a lot of industry that are contributing to the health of the community, then that makes for a better community. So I'm so happy today to be interviewing individuals from an entity in our community that plays a very, very, very important role in the health of our community economically. And these individuals are Ms. Elyce Coleman and Mr. Stephen Adams from the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Doing
Happy.
good.
Yeah, good to see you all. And it is true, and I want everybody to just pause for a minute, the listeners and the viewers, to just understand and realize the importance of jobs and industries and corporations in our community. I won't even begin to try to imagine the numbers of how many individuals that these entities contribute to. But I am also very happy to congratulate the Industrial Authority for 60 years. Wow. 60 years of making a measurable difference in our community. And I'm familiar with it. I know, when we had Brown and Williamson that come here and YKK and Levi Strauss and all of those companies, to come, and I know the impact and the role that they played in making this a better community. Well, some of them have gone, but I'm happy to report that we've got some individuals with the Industrial Authority that's bringing in new industries and, for the most part, keeping the community employed and keeping money flowing and keeping jobs flowing and keeping contributions from all of these wonderful organizations flowing for the betterment of our community. So we're going to start off with Mr. Stephen Adams, who's the Executive Director. Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself and talk a little bit about your around for 60 years and happening to be the director on this grand occasion.
Well, thank you, Alex, and thank you for having us here. It is so very fortunate to be able to talk a little bit about what we do here at the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority, and just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Macon, Georgia, so this is home, and I feel incredibly honored to get to sit in this seat of the executive director. And I'm a big fan of history, and it's kind of neat coming up on our 60th year in existence and going back and reading some of those old files from the days of recruitment of YKK and Brown and Williamson before I was even born, and just looking back and seeing just how impactful this industrial authority has been on this community. I mean, I think looking around the community, every industry you see here has had some level of engagement from the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority dating back 60 years. So it's like I said, I'm honored to be here and part of this team, and especially being a lifelong resident. It is it's something we look forward to coming into work every day, knowing that we have the ability to make our community that much better. So, like I said, honored to be in this position and honored to be on the call here today, and very excited to be joined by my good friend and the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority's existing industry manager, Ms. Elyce Coleman.
Yeah, that's outstanding. And we're going to let Ms. Elyce Coleman talk about those existing industries and all of the good things that she is doing in that regard. But just so everybody will understand, we don't want to have this show without people understanding really what the industrial authority is and does. So Steve, if you would, just talk a little bit about that.
So I would be remiss if I didn't point out our tagline of making opportunities. You know, that's something we've played off the Macon name, and it's so relevant because a lot of what we do are we're trying to make opportunities happen for our citizens here in Macon Bibb County. And so we are the recognized point of contact by the Georgia Department of Economic Development. So the state economic development agency that goes around the world trying to find and identify leads. So we market to that group. We stay very closely aligned with that group so that they're aware of the opportunities that we have here. And when they come across an opportunity, we're that point of contact that they reach out to start what we call the site selection process. So many of these industries that are making these big decisions, they look around the country, around the world for where is it make the most sense for them to set up shop. And so again, we are involved in that early beginning phases of that process. We have a project manager that will work with you if you make that decision to locate here. And then we have an existing industry manager that continues that relationship. And so it's I think it's very fitting that we're having this interview on Valentine's Day. We're a lot of ways we're in the relationship business. We're trying to make sure that the decision makers with these big hundreds of millions of dollars of decisions, these decision makers are people that feel as if they're dealing with people that they can trust and that are going to be fair and honest with them throughout the process. And so, like I said, we're in a lot of ways, we're in that relationship business and trying to make sure that, people can call Macon, Georgia home.
Yeah. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that these industries come to town and one way or the other, they contribute to the well-being of the community and to the government by paying taxes or payments in lieu of taxes. So in addition to providing jobs, et cetera, they also contribute to the operation of the city and of the government. And speaking about, Valentine's Day and speaking about love is in the air, I'm so proud to give Miss Elyce Coleman an opportunity to talk about what she does. Elyce?
Thank you so much, Mr. Habersham. Yes, like Stephen said, I am Elyce Coleman, existing industry manager for Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority. And I have the best job there is. I get to engage with several of the industries here in Macon Bibb. And when I go into those industries, I have no earthly idea what they're going to ask me to do. My job is to help connect them with various resources like training. I deal with the school system. One of the great topics that we have that comes up a lot is connecting them with resources that are going to help hire. As we all know, there's a shortage out there. Everyone is hiring. So I like to connect them with resources that we can put forth possible candidates. A great resource that we have is the College and Career Academy with Dr. Cassandra Washington, where she's producing phenomenal students that are able to actually leave out of school with stackable credentials to go into some of the industries and start working. I actually connect them with a lot of the colleges and universities here. Sometimes I have industries that want to be connected to other industries. They have product that they will love to get into the hands of other industries. So connecting them with other industries. Not to mention, sometimes the industries need resources right here in Bibb County, public works, stuff like that. So I am what they consider to be called glorified customer service. Stephen gets them here and I try to make them happy and keep them here. So whatever it is that they're needing, whatever their request is, I try to align them with the best resources that we have here in Macon Bibb County.
Because we want to keep them happy once they are here. And then, so you've got a very, very important job. I want both of you to kind of talk about this, if you would, because one thing that concerns me, and I talked about in my introduction, the importance of jobs and quality of life and livelihoods. Well, you know, last time I checked, and you mentioned it briefly, Elyce, there are jobs in this community now, you know, and I think, you know, if we just begin to think about how good jobs and people being employed positively affect the quality of life. So, I mean, you know, there were times when jobs were not available. There were times when good jobs were not available. There were times when training for these jobs were not available. But there are jobs, and I'm pouncing on that because I know how that will help our community, how it can help our community, how it will contribute to our community, how would it increase and the taxes and the quality of life and reduce crime and just help housing, just everything that you can imagine. And I'm saying all this because I'm touting, if you please, the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority, which has contributed to all of these things for 60 years. So talk about both of you, or one of you, just the availability of jobs and how people can secure jobs and how they can receive help in trying to get a job.
Well, that is definitely the hot topic in the economic development circles, and Elyce can attest to this. And working with our existing industries, she's absolutely right. Every single one of our industries is hiring. They're asking us, where can we find people? Where do we got to go to get them here? And these are good paying jobs. And, you know, there's so many, you know, there's some success stories that we deal with a lot of the management levels of these industries. A lot of the management levels started right there on the floor. Some of these kids are, you know, graduated from our local high schools, went straight to working on the floor and worked their way up to becoming, you know, the manager of an international company and getting to travel overseas to go visit their, you know, their international headquarters. And these are jobs that can take you anywhere you want to go in the world. And so, yes, we would definitely like to communicate. You go to our website. You know, we have a lot of those jobs listed there. We work very closely with a lot of our workforce partners, from the Bibb County Board of Education to Central Georgia Technical College, Middle Georgia State University. There are pathways that you can go into, you know, making a very good livable wage, and very specific pathways you can go through to get to those jobs. There are jobs that can take you, you know, right in off the streets without any skill set and teach you everything you need to know. There are some that are a little bit more technical. You might need a certificate program from the technical college. But again, these jobs, they are looking for you. They want to hire you. They want to provide you that livable wage. And so, yes, anything we can do to help prepare our the kids coming up through the K through 12 education, because a lot of these jobs do not require, you know, the 4-year degree, the college education. A lot of these jobs, that, like I said, they can take you right out of high school. A little bit of, you know, work with Central Georgia Tech, and, you know, you can be in some very good paying jobs, and that's what it's all about for us. I mean, our mission is very clear: create jobs, enhance the tax base. And obviously, how we go about doing that is a little bit more complex than that. But that's what it's all about for us. And you're absolutely right that jobs solve so many of our societal problems that we have, from crime and, you know, all the things that you can think of. Jobs are what fixes those problems. And so that's what we're in, the jobs business. And but yeah, like I said, Elyce can definitely attest to the day-to-day needs and just how badly they are looking for people to hire.
Yeah, and I do want you to comment on that, but I'm gonna take the interviewer's privilege and say to the community, to those entities and churches and organizations and agencies out there, that, you know, you can connect with your clients and parishioners and friends and customers and whomever. You know, I think it takes a village.
It does.
You know, to make the community better. And I'm so glad that Steve, you know, kind of said that, because you know, we can be a part of the solution. So if there are jobs, if there is training, you know, if there is money to be made and advancement opportunities, then more of the people, there are a lot of people who don't realize that.
Right.
Well, I'm just asking the people who can help get that word out to help this 60-year-old organization do an even better job, you know, to help the tax base and to help the economy and help, you know, more of us get livable wages, then I'm making an appeal to the community to do that. Go ahead, Elyce.
Yes, and just like Stephen Adams said, a lot of the industries are even willing to train. If you don't have those type of skill sets, they are willing to even train you from the ground up. Again, a lot of the supervisors and managers and CEOs in some of the plants started out on the floor in the warehouse, stocking shelves, and work their way up. So there are a lot of jobs, and we aren't talking about minimum wage type jobs. A lot of these jobs are paying well over minimum wage. If you are serious about needing and wanting a job, there are jobs out there in Macon Bibb County. And again, there are various websites that you can go to. Our website, Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority, is one of them. There's a link there where we can show you where a lot of our industries and what they're hiring for. We do work with a lot of the veterans that are returning back to the workforce and wanting to go and find jobs. So out at the Vector Center, they are able to translate the skills that they had while in whatever service they were doing and how that can equate to different various ways to go into the need for the jobs that are being requested out. A lot of people don't understand how that plays a part, but there's a skill set that they had to have while working into the military, and that does translate into stackable needs in the industry's work. So my suggestion to a lot of them is get on social media, various websites, such as our own. Even the universities have different websites that are now tied in together that post a lot of the jobs. Indeed, they have so many, monster.com, so many different jobs that are posted out there every day that have jobs that are available here in the community.
The bottom line is there's no excuse.
No excuse, none whatsoever.
There is no excuse.
If you don't have a job, you don't want a job.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Don't blame it on the lack of jobs and the lack of opportunities and the lack of training, because they are all available. So Steve, talk about what's on the horizon, if you would, and as it relates to industries and accomplishment. And even if it's not on the horizon, you could talk about something that's more recent, the more recent accomplishment. Then when Steve finishes, Elyce, I want you to just talk about some of the later industries, the existing industries, what they do, what they are doing, maybe how they got here and what their needs are.
Well, I'll take a stab at it. Obviously, the future is always uncertain. What we know is what we know of today. And I can tell you that as of today, it's a strong economy. There are lots of companies that are looking to expand their footprints and move into different communities. And we continue to have those conversations. Obviously, a lot of those are confidential in nature because of just the severity of the decision-making process and what that impacts. But, what I think it's important to point out that we have had an incredible amount of success over the last few years. And I think it's because of our communities, because of our assets, it's because of the location, our natural resource, infrastructure, the people. We talk a lot about jobs, and we hear so much about people say, wish we had this type of job. What I'd like to point out is that oftentimes the companies follow where the skill sets are. So I think if we want to have those types of jobs, we need to start preparing those students for them. And like I said, the Bibb County Board of Education and all of our higher education entities have done a great job of getting ready for those jobs of the future, so as to allow, when companies start looking around, they see that we have that workforce. They are basing their decisions on where to go based on where the workforce is. And so, that is so paramount. But I'd like to point out, so again, hard to really predict what will happen in the future. I can say that we're working with a lot of really good companies right now that are poking around and looking to see where they want to locate. But as an organization, we recently received accreditation status. That is something that only 67 other economic development organizations around the country have gone through and successfully accomplished. And it was a peer-reviewed process by the International Economic Development Council that looked very closely at every aspect of our organization, from the budget to the organizational chart, the bylaws, the policies and procedures, you name it. They looked at everything. They came down and interviewed our staff. They interviewed our board. They interviewed our stakeholders. And we walked away from that with accreditation status, which to me is just verification and validation that what your Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority has been doing and continues to do, we're on the right track and a lot of good things happening. So I think as an organization, that really just solidified that we're headed in the right direction.
That's a good 60-year birthday present, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
A very, 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 very good one. And then I'm going to repeat this, Steve, because if you all feel like I'm hitting you over the head, then I am. That's what I intend to do. Because, it's important to me that the entire community realizes that we got a good community. Steve talked about all the resources that we have here. And then so we need to be able to get people trained. And the more people that are trained, then the better, more attractive we are as a community for industries to come.
That's right.
So it's so important. And then Steve and Elyce and their staff can't do it all by themselves. You too can play a role in the economic development of our community by, informing people that, hey, you don't have a job, you want a better job, there's training available, there are resources available, and there are certainly good paying jobs available. I like that term, Steve, livable wages. There are good jobs paying livable wages, which means that, you don't have to live from one paycheck to the other one, is what I think that is. So that's important. Talk some, so it's about, because, you all have had good successes in bringing industries here, and I know you work with a lot of them, and, just talk about some of them that you work with, what they do, what their needs may be, just what kind of good citizens we have, industrial citizens we have in our community.
Well, if I could, I think it's neat to point out, and, I know as being someone who was born and raised here, and you may not realize that there are products that are made and shipped to and from around the world coming out of Macon, Georgia. I mean, we are obviously, growing up here, we always knew about YKK and, zippers going around the world. But I mean, there's egg cartons being manufactured here. There's your beer casing that you pick up from the gas station being manufactured right here. There's planes being worked on, and a plane that you may be flying on has been repaired or painted right here in Macon, Georgia. So again, these are things from manufacturing, aerospace, logistics, all these different industries that we work with. But we get to work with some amazing companies, and I think we all know of YKK. I like to highlight Irving Tissue as obviously one of our big claims to fame and big successes as of recently. And the way I describe them to people that may not know the Irving family and the reputation they have is that it's very similar to YKK. They're a company that is very focused on the people that work for them, where they work with them. They take care of their people very well. They have a great reputation around the country. But again, we get to work, one day we may be working with a tissue manufacturer. The next day we may be out at Old Mulgee East Industrial Park watching Mr. Chips bring in, thousands and thousands of pounds of cucumbers and putting them into the brine and making pickles that will go onto your McDonald's burger or Subway sandwich. Again, right here in Macon, Georgia, where this is happening, so many things. And I would invite, we love the opportunity to show it off. I'd love to invite come talk to us and come see what all is made in here, and shipped to and from here. I mean, it's amazing. You would your eyes would be open to see what all is happening in Macon, Georgia. We truly are an international community that is interconnected into around the world.
All right.
Outstanding. Add to that, Elyce?
I agree with everything he said. And one thing I would like to say is not only do we take pride in the industries and want people to go to work for them, one of the things that I love about my job is I try to get the industry back and to give back to the community by getting involved with the schools, like Adopt a School. And they actually go and work at the school, volunteer at the school, teaching and talking to them about what it is that they do at the industries. And we start at the elementary school age and work our way up. I get them involved help to get them involved in United Way. We have events here such as Cherry Blossom. We try to make sure the industries know all about that so they can get involved in the community. We don't want them to just be here and then stay into their silos. We want them to work and get involved in the community. In our downtown, we have a thriving downtown community. So we invite them to come downtown and participate in all the events that we have going on here in Macon Bibb County. So that is another awesome part of my job, getting them acclimated to the community.
Outstanding. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Having interviewed Miss Elyce Coleman. Now, what's your title, Elyce?
I'm sorry, your phone, it broke up. What is that? I'm sorry.
Your title.
Existing Industry Manager for Macon Bibb County.
Miss Elyce Coleman, existing Industry Manager for Macon Bibb County, and Mr. Stephen Adams, who's the Executive Director of the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority, which is celebrating 60 years. And I bet you if we tried to count all the jobs, that this agency has been responsible for bringing to Macon, we need the fingers and the toes of everybody in this community, because there have been just literally hundreds of jobs, hundreds of people employed. Thousands, millions of dollars that's been invested in our community, and millions of hours, people volunteering and doing things to support the community. So the Macon Bibb, now how does one get in touch? Let's talk a little bit more about where one can go to find the jobs that are available and how one can maybe get in touch with the authority if they have a question.
So I would recommend going to our website first, www.mbcia.com. You will find a wealth of knowledge. Our intended audience with our website is obviously the site selection consultants that are looking around at different communities around the country. So you'll find a lot of data and stats on Macon Bibb County and why Macon Bibb County is a good fit. But you'll see there is a tab titled Jobs. And when you go to that, there's links to every job that is available here in Macon and the Middle Georgia area. Wow. So again, that's the best way when you're looking for jobs. There is a place on there where you can reach out directly to us. We're happy to help make those connections, because we do hear from so many of our employers saying, help me find people. We need people to go to work for us. So we would love to help make that connection.
And like us on Facebook and all your social media avenues. We post a lot on there as well.
This is a call to action. And before we close out, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
To the Macon Bibb County Industrial Authority for 60 years. For 60 years of making a difference in our community, particularly from an economic and a job-bringing perspective. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com